It was an embarrassing defeat for Mamdani the commie. And I think that anyone who actually cares about issues, anyone who actually is not biased and only wants the commie to win, would see very clearly that this guy lost handily, right? Here's some major things that happened during this debate that I think are very important to talk about, to discuss all this stuff, right? So one of the major concerns about Mamdani the commie was, how is he going to pay for all the stuff that he's talking about? You know, one of the major things is that he's saying that, oh, we're going to make all the buses free, man. And the question is, why are you doing that? He's like, oh, we're going to stop assaults on public transportation by making it free. It's like, what? How does that make sense? You know, we're going to make you sit next to all the crackheads and degenerate losers and give them the buses for free. And that's how it's going to stop assaults, by agreeing with the terrorists. Okay, what the terrorists want, we give them. I mean, obviously, right? Because this guy supports terrorists and Hamas. And anyways, we're not there yet. So here we go. Here's Mamdani talking about how he's going to make the buses free. Interesting stuff.
But the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
But the question is,
how are you going to give everyone buses for free? I'm going to raise taxes by $9 billion. Oh, oof. Oh, God. Oh, God. I mean, even if I I assume the vast majority of the people here aren't the top 1% or anything like that, but you should be very afraid of a slimy commie coming into governance and saying, we're going to take away money from the people that earned it and give it to the other people. That never ends well, because today it's going to be, oh, well, it's those top 1%ers. You don't care about that. And then it's going to keep on going. And then he's going to say, oh, well, we're going to take all the money from the white people. That's crazy. You would never say that, right? Oh, wait, he did say that. Yes, Mamdani the commie specifically said that he's going to take money from white people and give it to other people. Yes, so eventually, if they haven't yet said it's going to be you, they're going to come for you, right? Because, I mean, this guy is... all but calling for radical Islamic control over governance anyways, right? So I can very much see that one day is going to say, well, we're going to take it from all the non-Muslims because all the Muslims need money, you know? Oh, we're going to take all the money from the Christians and the Muslims because apparently in Mamdani the commie's world, you need to be a Muslim in order to understand what it's like to govern a city, right? And New York City, the largest city in all of the United States, right? Because it's a pre-qualifier to be the mayor as to how much of a Muslim are you? How many mosques have you visited, guys?
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost.
The crazy part to me is, why is it even a concern of anyone as to how many mosques you've been, as to if you can be mayor of New York City? Imagine Cuomo saying that to Mamdani the commie and being like, hey, how many churches have you been to, bud? Name for me 5 different churches within New York City. Like, it's just crazy. It's just absolute lunacy that he's now making it a pre-qualifier to be mayor of New York City as to how many mosques you know, how many mosques you've been to. To be very clear, there's a separation of church and state right now in this country, right? And it shouldn't even be a concern whatsoever about what his religious affiliation is whatsoever. Imagine if they were saying that to Mamdani, like, he's a Muslim and he shouldn't be heading up New York City. How many churches he's been to? It's crazy, you know? It's crazy that somehow they're trying to bow down to Islam to be the mayor of the United States of America's largest city. It's absolute insanity. Like, this is
Hello?
crazy. Just so we're aware, this is absolute insanity. Trying to make that as to a pre-qualifier, right? But anyways, Mamdani the commie is not at all, you know, it's not a weird thing whatsoever for him to be saying insane things, of course, right? Here's a yet another absolutely insane and extremist viewpoint that Mamdani the commie brought up yesterday.
And to follow the advice of district attorneys that we have here in New York City, the current Manhattan DA, the former Manhattan DA, the current Brooklyn DA, the former Manhattan DA having said that prosecuting women for prostitution is something that actually leads to less safety. And what we need to do is provide an economy
Mr.
of
Mamdani,
opportunity.
just a quick clarification. So no legalization, how about decriminalization?
I do not think that we should be prosecuting women who are struggling, who are currently being thrown in jail, and then being offered job opportunities. I think we should be actually providing those kinds of opportunities at the first point of interaction. And to
Just to be clear, Mamdani the commie is literally in a debate for the mayor of the largest city in the United States of America, talking about legalizing prostitution. Okay, he wants to legalize prostitution. And I don't even think we have to get into all the bad that comes from putting women into a position like this. Okay, all the abuse, all the everything that happens with prostitution. Prostitution is not a good thing. It is not a moral thing. It is not a good thing for women. It is not a good thing for men, for families. It is a disastrous idea that this man wants to legalize prostitution. That is absolutely evil and absolutely insane as well, to be clear, that this man is a Muslim and is trying to go to the United States of America and legalize prostitution, that he wants to install communism, legalize prostitution, take money away from white people. I mean, if you were trying to make a cartoon villain for a film, you could not more easily do it than what he's doing on his own. He is very clearly trying to destroy America through any and every way that he possibly can. That is absolute insanity. And to be very clear, it is not female empowerment to be a prostitute, okay? That is the greatest trick that slimy, disgusting men like Mamdani the commie have ever done to women, is to make them think that being a prostitute is somehow female empowerment. It is not, okay? And it's people like this guy that are leading to the absolute degeneracy of today's society and moving away from a healthy family unit, right? Why do we have so many young people that are going to lives of crime and drug usage and general deviance? It's because of the family unit dissolving in America, and things like prostitution is yet another step towards that. Decriminalization of drug usage, not prosecuting criminals, prostitution. This is an immoral step towards absolute degeneracy. Just crazy shit, by the way. Absolutely crazy, insane stuff. Also, this guy, to be very clear, he's a snake in the grass. You know, he's willing to throw anyone and everyone under the bus as long as it serves him politically. You know, people that he has claimed to be, you know, some of his greatest allies, he is willing to throw them under the bus just so that he can win a couple of political points. Here he is throwing under the bus his greatest ally, Hassan Piker, the dog striker.
It's genocide. And I find the comments that Hassan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and it's genocide. And
there you go. This, of course, is after Mamdani the commie has aligned himself publicly with Hamas Abi completely. And if you don't believe me, wow, look at this. Here's a recent picture of Hamas Abi and Zarami the commie shaking hands, being best of buddies. Wow, who could you see that? But of course, when it comes to the public stage and when he's asked a question about disavowing Hamas Piker, all this stuff, Hamas piker, the dog striker. Of course he'll lie, he'll cheat, he'll steal in order to get what he wants, because this is a snake oil salesman. This is a person that was willing to say and do anything in order to get one over, to win political points and to get power within America. Of course, to be very clear, this man is the son of a multi-millionaire, yet he lives in subsidized housing. This is a man who's never actually held any position in his life. He's been given absolutely everything. This is a person that only very recently became a citizen of the United States after saying how much he hates the United States and, of course, aligning himself with actual legitimate terrorists.
Ari, debt relief for taxi drivers. I think you can unpack that a little bit, but does this qualify someone to be mayor of the largest city in the United States? Financial capital.
Thank you so much for the 500 kicks. I appreciate that. If you have like a video or something like that you want to request with that 500 kicks, you can send it in or anything like that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Super kind, awesome, wonderful of you. Thank you.
Ari, debt relief for taxi drivers. I think you can unpack that a little bit, but does this qualify someone to be mayor of the largest city in the United States, financial capital of the world?
Well, heavens no. And two things, first of all. One, nobody should ever again refer to him as a democratic socialist. America's elections are democratic. That has nothing to do with him. He is a socialist. And when anybody
He's not even a socialist, he's a communist.
calls him a democratic socialist, they're trying to clean him up and make him look normal. He's not normal. He is the definition of extreme socialism.
Yes.
And that is exactly why he won't lower the cost of living for New Yorkers. Socialism has never done that anywhere, ever around the world where it's been tried. Socialism leads to misery for all, and that's what he'll do to New York City. So he's a socialist, and he's going to be woefully unsuccessful.
Well, the thing is that he specifically said in the debate yesterday, and I played this clip earlier, that the way he's going to be funding all of these plans, all these things he wants to do, is by raising taxes. He specifically said by $9 billion, he wants to raise taxes on New Yorkers. That is in plain English what he said. And I know that a lot of people will say, well, oh, it's not me that he wants to raise taxes on. And I get that, right? It's kind of the old story of the hangman's noose. You know, the hangman comes to town and he looks for people to put on his gallows, right? And today he's asking for someone else and you say, fine, because that's not me. And then after a little while, guess what? He's coming for you and there's no one else around to protect you or to stand up for you because they're all gone. And that's exactly how communists work. That's exactly how socialists work, is that they say, oh, we're going to raise taxes on the white people. And if you think that's crazy, guess what? Mamdani specifically said that he wanted to raise taxes on white people. That is not something that's a fabrication or anything like that. Let me show you if I can find that clip right here, because that is a true statement. That is actually something that he said right here. Right here in the New York Post, Mamdani says white neighborhoods should pay higher property taxes. This, of course, was on the front page of that right there. And he actually did say it very clearly while being interviewed on MSNBC, I believe it was, or maybe someone else like that. Let's watch.
That says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now, what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website.
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right.
So very clearly you can see him being pushed on the language that he uses, and he doubles down, he triples down over and over again because he's proud of that. He's proud of saying, hey, we're going to raise taxes specifically on one race. And he says it while smiling, his slimy sleazebag smile to you. That's it. And that's the very troubling thing, is that today he says, oh, we're going to raise taxes on rich people or white people. And then after a while, you know, maybe he'll raise taxes on Christians, you know? Oh, only Muslims deserve to have lower taxes because I'm a Muslim and because they're historically disenfranchised, yada, yada, yada. You know, this is stuff that seems very within the realm of possibility because it's a slippery slope. If at one day is going to disenfranchise someone and then another one and then another one until only his very, very narrow worldview of the people that he considers to be the chosen social caste are being benefited by by society. And it's wrong, and it's racist, and it's inherently wrong. And even the very idea of equity is inherently racist. It's inherently disenfranchising people based upon issues that shouldn't matter. You know, it should be about quality, not equity. That is the only way to have a functioning society, is based upon equality, not equity whatsoever.